The cylinder grows ever more crowded as civs race to settle what empty space remains. But who will manage to safeguard their future, and who will watch theirs get ripped away? This is the Civilization Battle Royale X Season 5, Episode 5, The Call of the Land. Hello once more. It is I, Orange Chrissy, back again for the 5th episode for the 5th time. Because nepotism, of course. Now, a bit over 3 years ago, during CBRX3, I said I would infiltrate the dev server, and I can confirm that I have succeeded. Back in November, our great game runner Lax asked me if I could help do some tests because no one else was around for some reason. I said sure, but that it was like the day before E05 came out, and I'd be playing that for a week straight, so I can help out after. I got invited to the server, and then a couple of days later, Lax did something to get past the crash cycle she was stuck in, and thus we are here, with me in the dev server, despite having done absolutely nothing. Anyways, oh boy, this is the second Royale I've had my own civ in. I had Malacca in CBRX2, so as such, I am going to be quite biased towards Pomo throughout this. I hope they do well, because, as always, I do not read ahead. So come along with me as we venture into this world of the worst plays known to man. I get to write this when my comic is out this time. It is currently Friday night. I rushed it early because I know I'm going to be busy starting Sunday, so it's actually done already. However, in my rush, I forgot to add some shading to it. I've been trying out a new style this time, and I'm not sure how well it gets compressed, but oh well. After all, why shouldn't I give myself a second OC slot? I'm sorry to those who want a map here, but I've actually rushed out 2 comics this week, my weekly one and another Lazy Portugal show. The original Lazy Portugal show was what pushed me to make my comics, and I have been so happy to see all the OC this season. Thank you Archimedes and Scato and Nope and Emerald and anyone else making Civball comics and other OCs, though also, I get to be a selfish bitch. Koyot's been making some really cool updates to the site, and these donations pay for the server that hosts such a wonderful site. But for real, check out all the stuff Koyot has been adding. It looks really nice. He should also finish the rest of those Tibetan civs he was working on. Wink wink, nudge nudge. There's a few more new features out you might stumble upon. Announcements when I clear the bugs. Look, it's gotta be Pomo. Again, I get to be egotistical like this. Wow, good job, Pomo, on settling again and beating back Tlingit and being all around cool. And here we start things off among the sanded down corpses of those lost to the failure of a war that is the Banuba invasion of New South Wales. Banuba, despite their losses, or maybe because of them, developed new beliefs for their faith. Banuba jumped way up to second in the rankings based on the hype over this war. Hype that they did not live up to. But that's not to say they aren't doing well. Both Australian civs are at the top of the stats, and Banuba has a whopping 9 cities to New South Wales 8. Alas for them both, they are trapped in the land down under. Ma'in makes a moratorium with Hyksos, this time bravely not giving away their new second city. And hey, they got another settler out again, ready to settle the useless desert, which is not going to save them from being the rump of all rumps here. Elsewhere in this slide, Ethiopia, Hyksos, and Phoenicia all have settlers out. Also, Kipchaks attack Sumer. It won't do anything. Susquehannock has been expanding well. Saskwasahanog is down just east of Onondaga, and Quadroque even further north, and another settler heading west to compete with the Ponca on the Mississippi. However, their rivals in the north enhance their religion and still have quite a lot of space throughout Quebec. Here we get to see those new enhanced beliefs. Onondaga gets reliquary, giving extra faith for great people, and 1 faith in the palace, and Sakela Society, giving +2 faith and +2 gold on shrines. Banuba, on the other hand, gets missionary zeal for stronger missionaries and altars, faith buildings granting +2 happiness, +1 faith, and +1 tourism. Also, it doesn't get mentioned further, so Phoenicia and the papacy make peace, and Wasulu joins the Sumer hate train. Hark! The white shores are ahead of us. Men, ready your weapons. We attack once we hit the shore. We can't attack, sir. We aren't at war. What do you mean we aren't at war? Why have we sailed all the way here otherwise? Wales sails a fleet to who knows where. The Hanseatic League gets another settler out to bolster Denmark or the inner continent, and France has a settler about to settle in Brittany, with another in Marseille and yet another in Paris. The Biarmians settle across the White Sea and get another settler to keep going along the coast, their war with Estonia ending in nothing, just wasted breaths, as they continue to get pushed to the edges of the Arctic North. These are the lands of the useless, the lands of the could-bes, and never were. Vyatka continues settling the north too, and Estonia and Scythia fight over some forest deer. Wallachia is settling west, with 2 more settlers around their capital, yet nowhere else to really put them down as Scythia and the papacy encroach closer. Though, if the Pope settles where they are, which I think they might be able to with that coastal city distance mod, it will be quite the easy city to take, especially as the Pope is about to be at least somewhat distracted by the French, for however much good the French might do. Rumblings are loud in the new home of government for the Kongsi Federation, the Republic in heated debate over who to blame over the failure of the Ternate War. The recently in power lawmakers of Mao En planted the blame on the complacent bureaucrats of the capital in fiery shouts and even deadlier writings. The battle rages hotter than it ever did at sea. Lanfang makes the forum magnum in a city that isn't even their capital. It gives +2 great magistrate points and a free magistrate court in every city, something related to JFD's rise to power, I believe. I don't know how useful that is at all. Humabon steps forward newly crowned, taking his place upon the newly built royal dock, only something fit for a Raja. The past few years have been rough, but Humabon believed that with this change he might be able to assert enough authority to succeed in the war. Yet, as is the folly with so many kings, they fail to think further ahead. No settlers in sight. Cebu continues to fall behind. The Raja, feet planted firmly on the wooden dock, remains adrift among a sea of true conquerors. And speaking of untrue conquerors, stupid, dumb, annoying Ismail Berzeg of Circassia got proclaimed as the conqueror, for some unknown reason, despite only ever being in one war which has seen no units die, their current war against Sumer, because they joined in like a lemming, and apparently being a follower who hasn't done anything worthy of recognition is enough to be seen as the god of the high heavens. Fuck off, Berzeg. I conquered your mom last night. Amina seemingly got tired of sitting around in her own failing civ and decided to become a general for hire in a different failing civ, Yunnan, of infamous Episode 4, Slide 68 notoriety. Egads, what a horrific blunder. They have 3 more settlers out. Maybe that'll do them some good. Maybe that'll let them give away more cities to Tang for no reason because they're... maybe I need to take a breather. Mysore is doing well. Yeah, doing well. Mid-tier stats held up by an impressive military, but well enough expansion opportunities and a good shot at dominating the subcontinent. 2 more settlers are about to make their homes in the north, preventing themselves from being cut off by their 2 neighbors and giving some access to Kashmir and Nepal, maybe. Solid core here. Would be nice if they take Rajshahi or build some boats to take Khulna. Zavante is still alive. Wow. Still, sucks to be them, though, as they are pretty fully blocked in, and they can't really fight out of here anytime soon, as the terrain is just awful. We also see the failures of expansion here. Potiguara has encroached fully in the east. There's no place for Zavante to get anything down there despite that settler heading into a small gap. There is a spot on the north coast, I believe, but Potiguara has not 1 but 2 settlers nearing it. There's also a spot just to the south, but Guaycuru is rapidly approaching it and has a settler 2 tiles below it. But Zavante has 1 2 tiles above it. Maybe it'll be an even draw, unless Guaycuru moves a unit onto it first, which they probably will do. Anyways, Guaycuru's culture sucks ass, and they still haven't gotten Cerro de Potosi yet, despite it being in range of their capital. nor either of the two luxuries next to Potosi. Really quite shameful of a display. Sargon of Akkad, the ancient ruler and not the YouTuber, gets recruited by Luba to help defend themselves against the hordes of Zhezhou. It immediately proves effective at sending Amina's government in regency while Amina is fucking off to Yunnan into enough of a panic to quickly sue for peace. This one goes out to my greatest rival, Archimedes. Teo ain't shit. Come at me, bro. Okay, actual analysis. Teo moves to settle El Salvador and has another settler up north ready to move out. However, their progress against Karankawa is still nothing. Karankawa themselves have settled Coco on the Mississippi, forcing Ponca to go further east, and they have another settler around Kuhane doing who knows what. But I think what's most important is Karankawa's fighting itself. First of all, they have 3 triremes, and their workboat UU, the dugout, converts to a trireme when it makes a fishing boat, and with the damage Hickswitz has taken, there's a slight chance Karankawa can actually take it, though it's probably unlikely. More so than that, though, Karankawa's UA gives them speed near rivers, makes defeating units spawn holly or oysters, and their units heal and gain culture when defeating units when on said unique resources. It's a very good UA for a grindy war like this one, so good job to Teo for at least giving a minor boost to Karankawa. They needed it. What a nice guy. Did I speak too soon? I say to my arch-nemesis Archimedes, as the next slide shows Behepal being beaten up by Tlingit triremes. But no, I did not, because those triremes aren't nearly enough to take the city, especially with the city attack plus archer plus chariot archer, plus soon a second chariot archer raining arrows down upon the ships. More importantly, both civs have settlers out, both heading northeastwards. A lot of land out there to claim. 2 new cities settle around Iberia. The French placed Nantes in Andorra, and they do settle Le Havre, Marat in Brittany, while Portugal goes further east to settle Gaia on the Balearic Islands. Both civs also have secondary settlers hanging around, France looking to settle in northern Iberia, while Portugal heads to maybe Barcelona. After those, there should be still another spot in the center to grab too. Come on, Joao. Don't let a repeat of Hastings happen. Eagle-eyed viewers last episode, which is to say I think Nope or whoever it was, may have seen this, a Tarkhan, the Kipchak UU, under Circassian control. This is the Kipchak UA at play. Most obviously seen through its UU since only it can get it, but the Kipchaks can have their units become mercenaries sold to other civs, gaining bonuses when they return after 30 turns. Ain't that cool? The title for slide 24, as shown on the website, is in fact the sound I made while in the CBR voice chat with Emerald Range, and I saw this slide. For fuck's sake, Joseph Maria. For fuck's sake. The Canine Warrior is the Teotihuacan UU, a spearman replacement that starts with Drill 2 if trained in a city with a wonder, and they don't have any wonders yet, and gains plus 100% combat strength against cities, if you have captured a city from that civ already. Useful if they attack Karankawa again in the next 20 turns. It's only been a turn since the last time we saw here, actually, so I was right about them being just about to attack the Hanseatic League. The message just came slightly late. Nothing much will happen here, though. Hansa has more than enough archers, and Hamburg has only 1 tile of access. We get a nice shot of central North America, and the Ponca Empire and what remains of Karankawa. There's a spot to settle east of Coco, which White Eagle looks like he'll nab first, though that big empty game northwest of Coco can't actually be settled. Hubdon and Tangoen are just a smidge too close together. Circassia, in their expansion era, decides to enhance their religion while they're at it. Their empire is currently looking okay-ish, better late than never, and they still have 2 settlers in the northwest doing nothing. Phoenicia looks to settle more of the gaps to their southeast. Rapa Nui's fabled settler lands upon the eastern shores of Papua New Guinea, or as it's known in this world, the island of Soasio, to maybe, perhaps, settle a 3rd city. Hotumatua, however, is notoriously difficult to please, so who knows if they will actually settle in such a nice spot, or if they will keep moving towards worse pastures. Guaikuru decides the best way to slow down their southern rival is to settle right in the middle of them. I don't think this will work. We also see their UU here, the Haliaganek, a horseman replacement which restores nearby units' movement when it defeats a unit, or a barbarian encampment, whatever those are. Simon Bolivar appears at least fairly close to what could be Gran Colombia, here to help the Corral do something, I guess. Maybe he just saw the disastrous failure of the Corral linear formation and decided he could do better. Now he just needs a target. Also, Teo heads to the Galapagos. Screw Panama. Tang builds the tradition tree wonder Hanging Gardens in Luoyang, giving them a nice boost of food. Scotland is scouting out the great northern island of Greenland, checking out the ore deposits and snow of the glacier-covered land. Uwale passes it by to try and scout Newfoundland, where a ruin remains unclaimed. After the peace with Karankawa, Teo got some new enemies. Anishinaabe, who can't do shit, and now Zaragua, who might send a few triremes at Pachan or Hiksuich, but probably won't do anything. Bapanada. Humabon, with his new kingly powers, builds the Apanada Palace, granting him 2 free reforms, another rise to power thing, I believe. Circassia's new beliefs include choral music to spice up their temples with extra culture and tourism, and mandirs, faith buildings granting culture, faith, and a great work of art slot. That's weird. But it doesn't mean anything. Anyways, we get a little overview of the religions of the cylinder. Hyksos, predictably, has the most cities already, something they will likely keep the whole game because no one else in Africa got a religion, and they can compete in the Middle East and Western Europe. Pakistan is also growing beyond their own borders, presumably to Mysore. The rest of the religions are even smaller, with a number of civs still with just one city following their religion. And we get a map of the faiths. One thing to note is that for a number of civs, newly founded cities have instantly gotten their religion for whatever reason. You can see this with Banuba, Pomo, Anishinaabe, and hey, what's that? Yep, Rapa Nui too. Not really sure why this is the case, but oh well. We also can see with this map how the spread of religions have ended up. As said, Hyksos is the only one in Africa, and Western Europe remains empty. Eastern Asia is also empty, as well as Corral being the only religion in South America. No, Rapa Nui doesn't count. Most religions are clumped together around Anatolia and North America. Garibaldi, the Italian revolutionary, finds himself in the frigid cold where he must do yet another risorgimento, but for Scandinavia. In awe, Estonia and the Union make peace, no cities changing hands. Also, the Bjarmians settle Gleisweiler out east, and Estonia is currently founding Viljandi at the bottom of the screen. Wasulu and Ores are in a settle-off for the Sahara, Wasulu getting right up into Ores' face, but Ores has 2 settlers coming down, one for the west and one for the east. Was does also have a settler in the south, not sure where it expects to go. In addition, Ores has their UU, the Zenata Rider, a horseman replacement which can pillage for free, gains XP based on faith output, and if built while an enemy is in the city's borders, it permanently gets to ignore zone of control. Also, Portugal settles Leiria, where I thought they couldn't because there was sheep there. Galdan Khan, Khan of the Dzungars from last time, appears among the Seychelles. Maybe he can help fight Sumer. What he can do, at least, is negotiate friendship with Scythia, apparently. Also, they have another settler out heading to southern Madagascar, and I have no idea where that Moravi settler went. We get to see the very impressive and expansive Tang Corps here, with the newly settled Jicheng and Guangzhou, and the Tang Yu, the Forbidden Guard. a composite bowman replacement that increases growth in occupied or puppeted cities by 10% when garrisoned in one. They do have a few of those already, annoyingly. Ternate joins their northern enemy in becoming a monarchy. Maybe it is due to the grave threat that is that new Rapa Nui settlement. Or maybe Babula just wanted more power for himself and has a bit of an ego. Whichever works. Pegu ensures that they do not get a fourth mainland city with Mutama blocking anything around it, though they can still get the Andamans, and wherever that northern settler went. Elsewhere, the race to expand is growing fierce. Mysore has 3 settlers heading north, Bangladesh has another near the capital, and Yunnan is sending 1 north and 1 south. Sure wish Pegu had gotten in on this race a fair bit earlier. 1 Rapa Nui city versus 20 New South Wales cities. New South Wales has expanded more, this time to Tasmania, and they have another settler going west, fully blocking in Rapa Nui's wayward claim. A shock, to be sure. I don't think anyone saw this one coming. Nope will be happy to know in his propaganda efforts against the Ores that they have hired noted Nazi General Erwin Rommel, likely due to his experience in the deserts of North Africa. Elsewhere, Ores sends another settler into the eastern Sahara, Portugal gets ready to settle Valencia, and France plopped down near real-life Bilbao. I think we should praise Portugal for getting to soon-to-be 7 cities. We should always praise Portugal. A monarchy? Well, of course Portugal is a monarchy. What else would it be, Joao thinks. He is, of course, the advisor to the king, Great King Maria of Portugal, so it can only be a monarchy. Yet here he is, on the cylinder once more, in charge of ruling Portugal, without his dear king, who he has a very complicated relationship with. So what is he to do when the Portuguese people say, "We have a crown for you," but sit and think about the crown that used to be there? After a while of sitting and thinking, he accepts the crown. Portugal is a monarchy, after all, but is it really right for him to wear it? The picture moves only slightly, but it is enough for Aveiro to be settled, leaving the center still open for perhaps that settler up near Porto. Anyways, this means next time I make a Lazy Portugal Show episode, I get to put a crown on him. Maybe. Or perhaps he chooses not to wear one anyways. I haven't decided yet. Geez, I just finished the last one. Give me a break. Paraguayan general of the Battle of Curupati, Jose E. Diaz, finds himself in Banuba as a few stray horsemen attack Dimaluru. Yes, that war is still ongoing, and progress continues to not be made at all, despite New South Wales still not having tech parity at all. Those swordsmen and comp bows are not helping, it seems. Huddled together in fur coats, a small group of Tlingit claim a patch of tundra near some deer on that rocky northern coast as their new home, Yakutat. The great Sheikh has proclaimed a new order recently. Cover the northern coast. The cold won't matter once it is firmly within our grasp, rather than that of our neighbors. And so they listened, they walked, they stumbled, they shivered forward, on, through the hills and mountains, till the icy sea showed before them in all its glory. Whatever glory that was, they struggled to start fires this far north where not even the trees dared to grow. A frozen hell, but their frozen hell. It would be no others. Avacha is settled in yet another flippant display of care towards the green Ukrainians, their war having been so useless that Itelmen deigned to settle right in the midst of their war camp. And, well, it seems they remain right about their safety, the bowmen struggling to fight the city despite its placement. Green Ukraine would have a much better chance if they were to take that Tang city instead. Japan settles Kanazawa, nearish to where Seoul would be, right in front of Green Ukraine, who was looking to do the same. Japan's doing quite well for themselves, it has to be said. I think they will be able to contain Green Ukraine quite well. Also, Rorun has an army marching somewhere, presumably to Green Ukraine. It took me too long to notice that Scythia has Slobodskoy in the yellow, and given how surrounded it is, it will probably fall in a turn or two. Presumably revenge for them not being able to settle anywhere. Just to the west, Due to that monumental peace deal, Estonians begin to call Lennart Meri the lawgiver for all the laws he gives. Though if the other epithets are anything to go by, it's likely done to mock him. Moravi settles Moravi settles Tete on the southern coast, just around the other side of Otjikune, and they thought they could get the Cape, but Herero looks to get there first. That other settler is still hanging around the capital for some reason. Ma'in encroaches with Nashan, Phoenicia does the dastardly settle of Berytos, and the Seychelles look to actually, maybe, finally be making progress against Eridu. Wonder if that will go through. Either way, Sumer is a bit screwmered in this game. Peace is made in the Australian death match that had so little death they called it just a match. What a disappointing war. Anyways, Rapa Nui has their UU. The Matatoa is a composite bowman replacement with extra sight and range, and on unimproved coastal hills, which they don't have right now, they can get a bunch of great person points and a 5-turn WLTKD. Kinda wild of a unit, not gonna lie. I got eyes so good they call me the Pale Worm. I'm not looking at the short term because I stand firm. Romeo and Juliet ain't forbidden love because they're straight. I write stuff down when I see it because I can't wait. If knowledge about this UU is what you want to see, then maybe go back to slide 43. Okay, I've immediately eaten my words because Scythia decides they don't actually want to wait one more turn for peace, and call it there while Slobodskoy is in the red. Bro, you're just getting more and more hemmed in. Simon Bolivar, probably by not yet having left Warikanga, does not help Caral take Mokari Tateri from the Yanomami, and instead helps them make peace. Meanwhile, Teo doesn't actually go to the Galapagos, but instead looks to settle just north of Banduria. Pakistan watches as the quite massive Bactrian army moves north for what is likely yet another failed conflict in Central Asia, and decides to attack their undefended backside. Sadly for them, their army is not in position, and is likely not going to be enough, as Bactria has a solid enough defensive force that has stayed back. They do also send out a settler north to try and beat Mysore, heading to the same place. Channapatna got settled. 2 more Mysorean settlers are nearby, and 1 is off in the Taklamakan desert. Pegu's settler also finds itself up there. Maybe it will do something. Yunnan got cut off, Bangladesh is walking around instead of going north, Karakitai has another settler out, and Bactria wonders where it can settle that isn't the open space to their west. Also, Yunnan settled another city in Vietnam. I'll notice what I want, you can't stop me. Ket settles close to Raurun, their citadel of an empire slowly expanding towards their neighbors, pushing the walls ever outward. The Itelmen also have a settler nearby, getting blocked off, but they still have lots of spaces to go. Both Ket and Raurun also have other settlers nearby. Are you sure this is the city we're supposed to attack? Yes, it was something starting with a B, and this is the only one of those around. I feel like this is a bit far away, don't you? Look, man, the orders were to take some city that starts with a B, and this right here is a city that starts with a B. If you have any more questions, you're getting flung off this boat. A lone Tlingit trireme tries its hand at the newly settled Bida Miwina that was settled like 10 slides ago. It is going poorly. There's still quite a few places to settle around here. That Teo settler has barely inched north, so hopefully Pomo can get in there before them. Pegu manages to get the Gate of the Sun, a really good wonder, even more so if they had any lakes. So they don't get the lake yields part of it, but they do at least get plus 15% growth in all cities. Alas, it won't be of much use to a civ that has so few cities. It's a shit civ versus shit civ round 2, Electric Boogaloo. Will Shin Sabu be able to pull off the capture this time? Who the fuck knows? Maybe there will be a peace right before a city falls, yet again. Well, this is what Pegu needs to have any semblance of a chance, so maybe it'll do him good. Eridu does indeed fall to the Seychelles, limiting Sumer even further. Think this is the first actual city capture of this episode. The other one was a gift. Wild. Anatum doesn't care, though. He's still too busy banging his hot Sumerian wife. Roran continues their play of doing very little, getting another settler out, because they know they have so much space and time. They also get their UU, the Wriggling Rider, a horseman replacement that gets +1 movement during Golden Ages, refreshed movement when on fresh water tiles, or maybe only when also next to a barbarian. It's worded a bit funny. And can dig wells in plains and deserts that provide fresh water. They should probably use these guys to put fresh water all over their lands. I forgot to write about these guys during that Pakistan war deck slide, so good thing this is here. The Elephantarch is a swordsman UU with 4 movement points, where each point spent before attacking increases combat strength by 10%, and starts with extra XP based on the city's food level. Sounds like a whole lot of unit set XY event triggers. Nice. Anyways, Uel makes peace with the League after nothing happened, though Hansa's settler they had around has disappeared somewhere. I'll also take this chance to say that France and the papacy made peace after their nothing of a war, and Ethiopia and Zazao too. The Union settled Ribe right on the League's front door, and Uel settled Carrickildavnit on Scotland's front door. How will these rivalries handle this? How will this footy be bald? Luba gets the British East India Company rebel queen Chennama of Kittur to help them defend the jungles of Africa. Ethiopia, meanwhile, decides to skip past Luba entirely to attack Herero, a war which will surely have anything happen in it. That Moravi settler starts heading back north. Bro's just doing loops. Mary does the only thing she can think of when she sees the new Uel settlement. Declares Scotland to be a nomadic horde. That's right, the Scottish people will now travel on horse throughout the Highlands and down through Anglia, onto the continent and up on boats to the Northern Islands. Or maybe she just meant in football terms, where O'Malley will be faced with a horde of players rushing at her team's goalie. Either works, I guess. Tang finds the Bangladeshi city of Barishal to be an eyesore on the landscape, and decides it must be theirs instead. They send a small army at it, but more than likely Taizong intends to just force it out of their hands in the peace deal yet again. Why fight when you could just be given things on a silver platter? Avacha gets battered by, count 'em, 5 comp bows, and takes barely any damage. Yeah, I think they'll be fine. The Rauran horde continues to move east, clearly preparing to attack either Japan or Green Ukraine, and Japan has built up quite a large defensive force around Hiroshima. Wonder what that's for. New South Wales manages to snag the southwest of Australia with Liverpool and another settler on the way. Meanwhile, Banuba doesn't have any out, but still space remains. The Kipchaks settle Ak and immediately get attacked by Vyatka for it, who has their own settlers running around trying to pop down nearby. Not sure anything will come of this war, but it should lead to some bloodshed, and maybe Nikolitsin or Dimokovo will end up falling. Bactria also prepares to settle just south of Sarai. Karal, noticing how shit their neighbor just off the coast are, sends out an array of triremes at Anakena, the closest a capital has been to falling thus far. However, the city has 29 strength, and one of their religious beliefs grants plus 25% combat strength for the city's ranged attack. So it probably won't fall, but that's gotta hurt for Rapa Nui. Timur, the great conqueror of Central Asia, appears roughly where he did in real life, and has set himself up in Bactria's army, ready to fight against the Kipchaks. The Pakistan problem is fairly easily handled, and now the Kipchaks are facing a two-front war. Maybe those archers will be enough to take Sarai this time. And if not, well, they do have 3 settlers ready to quickly expand that way too, and all 3 are near spots where they can, indeed, settle. A few Teotihuacan sailors drift along the currents towards land that is very, very far away. They see battles being waged at sea, ships fighting over cold ocean while empty land sits nearby. It seems even out here, across an endless expanse, war still finds its home. Peace was never an option. Peace can never be an option. Martinoleta decides that Rapa Nui can't be the only civ having fun sending settlers out to far-off lands, and thus a Chono settler passes by Hanga Pico, heading towards the Philippines. Who knows where they will end up? Not me, not you. Lax does, though. What does she know? The Ponca settler east of Coco has disappeared, seemingly. No idea where they went, but they commemorate it with a religion enhancement. In the meantime, Pomo settles Kadiu and has another settler partially off-screen near the capital, and another settler near Macahmo, looking to further expand the northeast claims. Teotihuacan, on the other hand, is moving ever closer to the Barringer Crater. Hey, did you know that Barringer Crater is officially called Meteor Crater? That's what the name is. It's only called Barringer Crater because a guy named Barringer was the first to say it came from a meteorite and bought the land for mining. But, really? Meteor Crater? That's what you went with? Ponca gains a holy order to spread their religion further away, and mounds, which give a bunch of food and great scientist points. That's a pretty good one. The first civ to settle Eritrea is not a civ in Africa, but across the Red Sea with Ma'in, trying to claw themselves back into it with a fourth city before Hyksos or Ethiopia can settle it, or before that Maravi settler comes back for the second time. Ethiopia does move to settle Djibouti, though. Side note, basically everyone's got a larger capital than Ethiopia. Even their other cities are doing better in that regard. The Seychelles decide now is the time to attack Maravi, right after they founded another city down in South Africa, and while the Seychelles have 2 settlers on or next to Madagascar ready to go, somewhere. However, they should have probably prepared a bit first, since Glacis has barely any defense and can easily be taken, and they don't even have any triremes to harass the coast. Please don't tell me this will somehow be a win for Maravi. On the other side of Maravi, Herero decides to join in too. Their track record with Luba is sure to help them in this war, with their units completely out of position and a city that could easily be taken if Maravi devoted enough to it. Please don't tell me this will somehow be a win for Maravi. Both civs here also settle further. You can see the Maravi settle of Sena I mentioned, and the newly put down Aminuis. There's still technically a couple more spots to go down here, like the very tip of the cape. We stay focused on Maravi once more, though the turn has ticked over, as yet another neighbor jumps on the pile. Luba attacks, and they will also still do nothing. Please, don't tell me this will somehow be a win for Maravi. Ket and Rauran continue to expand, with Kangatovo and Hetulin being founded and multiple settlers out and about nearby. This shot does make it clear how strong Ket is comparatively, though. Definitely a lot more built up and quite the army mulling around. While everyone else is attacking Maravi, Sumer decides it's time to make peace with them. This is it, folks, the match of a lifetime. On one side of the pitch we have the League in their hometown, and on the other the Union. There's the first whistle, and immediately the Union is playing aggressive, pushing against the League's defenses. Copenhagen is trying to run it through the middle of Lübeck and Bremen. Oh, but Lübeck gets their foot on the ball and knocks it back to safety. Lübeck to Kiel, Kiel to Hamburg, on the side, and Hamburg takes the ball up the field towards Rebay. Oh, what a thrilling match already, folks. The citizens of Anakena cower in fear as raiding parties from those blasted triremes come to shore, burn a few buildings, and hop onto their boats before the arrows hit them. It's a dastardly use of hit-and-run tactics, but the Rapa Nuians are people of the sea. They are people of the stone. Their shrines are prayed to and circles set, the healer shamans working as fast as they can. They would survive this onslaught, even if hurt, even if the raids keep coming. They faced worse, and they will face better. the Corral fleet is not doing nearly enough damage. I don't think it's falling. They should have attacked earlier, or waited till they had galleasses. Bactria has split their army, one half spreading out around Demetrius for some reason, the other half heading south to Rawalpindi, where they might see some success. But in the meantime, nothing has been sent to Maracanda or to Sarai, so Maracanda is already on the verge of falling. Good job, Bactria. Even Timur can't save you. It turns out that large Hiroshima defense force was to join on the side of Green Ukraine against Itelmen, or as some might say, on the side of the Itelmen god. Chinashishilu quickly takes a bunch of damage, and yeah, that shit is falling quickly. Meanwhile, just a bit west, Avacha has been brought down to black, but the Itelmen were smart and killed the melee units first, leaving the nearest one stuck fortifying instead of attacking. It should be safe for at least a few more turns minimum. New South Wales has decided that it is finally time to rid the cylinder of the only joy we have, Rapa Nui's dumbass second settle. 'Tis a sad day. Everyone pour one out. New South Wales hates fun. I've always said the civ that starts in Southeast Australia sucks. What more proof do I need? The Seychelles like to dance on the edge, as they get a settler on the coast right in front of a Moravi archer. But lucky for them, it's currently Susquehannoc's turn, and I believe Seychelles will be the next one to move, not Moravi. So they will settle in place and have an undefendable city, only defended by Moravi's assumed incompetence. The battle rages on west of Maano. That stupid settler is still hanging around their capital. Also, the Seychelles make peace with Sumer, no cities changing hands. The Pomo enhance their religion as Behepal gets attacked fruitlessly yet again. Their current settler is heading north to settle above Kadiu, presumably, though there is space east of the capital and northwest of the Ponca capital. Teo, down south, continues to move their settler north at a pace of 2 tiles an episode. Checking back, we first saw it on turn 78 in Bejakul itself. It has moved 3 tiles northeast in 11 turns. Also, yes, pomology does exist. It is the study of fruits. What a great thing. Perfect for me, who goes by Orange, who made a Pomo mod. Onondaga settle on the northern coast of Quebec with Gistwiana, though they don't have any other settlers out right now when they really need some. They need to cover this area fully, especially so they can start building a navy to invade Susquehannock with once that war starts up again, as it surely will. On the minimap some slides ago, it turns out that Teotihuacan settler had turned back north to settle our beloved canal city, ensuring that there is connection between the two oceans for the rest of the game until the city gets raised in the Renaissance era. Yanomami also settles Hawaro Wateri on the northern coast, and Karankawa finally gets a Yucatan settled down with Copano, which will surely remain theirs for a long time. Oh yeah, Zaragua is attacking Teo, barely. Mysore is the first to settle this area with Salem right in the middle of it, giving them a strong position, and they have another settler soon approaching, as long as it doesn't get cut off by that Bangladesh one. Pakistan also founded Peshawar, ensuring they got something down at least. Karakitai has 3 settlers which have been standing around doing nothing this whole episode, and Pegu is still waddling north at a slow pace through the Tibetan mountains. Pomo, who didn't have a very good religion before, pick up 2 quite nice beliefs. Religious texts ensures that Bolemaru is one of the better spreading religions in a region that is a complete religious battlefield, and the Tseke system gives faith from caravanserais and trade routes, not connected cities like it says, greatly helping their faith production. But really, religious texts is the big one. The Pomo ideally want to spread their religion south, as that gives plus 10 HP when healing for every unit, though right now the last converted city was definitely Makahmo, so to the north, granting units plus 1 movement when starting near to a religious unit, which they don't have any of right now. East is plus 20% GP generation, and west is trade routes, giving plus 5% growth to cities they connect to. Hard to do when there is open ocean that way. It was cold. Too cold. Too deathly cold that one had to wonder how anyone could ever survive here, much less thrive in such a place. Yet that's what they were told to do. That's what the orders were. That's where their journey has taken them. To the top of the world, where their limbs freeze and their hands shake and their bones cry out in pain with every step. But every step is also a step towards greatness for the homeland, for the people of the Tlingit. Every step further is another inch they can use and no one else can. The land may seem useless, but the orders say, as they always do, that it is for the greater good, the future foreseen, the future desired. Freezing temperatures mean nothing in the face of the destiny of a nation. The shoulders of gods hold them up. They will hold each other up, too. The Bjarmians try yet again to get out of their self-imposed prison that they created by not expanding. This time they attack the Kalmar Union, with the concept of support from Scythia, who are busy being distracted by the most engrossing game of football. I doubt they will be able to take Vasa, but you never know. Moravi's final neighbor bids Moravi hello and goodbye, choosing to send a settler guarded by a spearman as their choice of attack. Please don't tell me this will somehow be a win for Moravi. Józef Poniatowski, the Polish general and marshal of the French Empire under Napoleon, finds himself on the wrong side of Russia, well past where Moscow should be, and this time under the control of, well, I don't think the Vyatkins are quite Russians, but they control Russia here, so it is what it is. He's been hired to try and help them fight the Kipchaks. They currently have a decent offensive heading towards Kanjak Sangir, and that city has very low strength, given it's up against Kampbos. Maybe they can do it. I'm sorry, Emerald. I think Pegu just sucks shit this game. They haven't dealt a lick of damage to Geju this time, somehow. They also have a settler heading down south, maybe to Sumatra. Anyways, Cebu settled in South Vietnam, finally getting themselves to 3 cities after only 90 turns. Why is the only civ we don't see at all the only one here doing good? Lan Fang. Like, we're just getting to watch a bunch of failures fuck around here. These guys suck. Sadly. I want them to do well. Chineshishilu looks to be much safer now that they have a comp bow clearing out the triremes and the unit next to the city is no longer there. Still, solid chance it'll fall given the 9 strength, but solid defending so far. Japan is having a hard time. So is Green Ukraine, who have moved that spearman 1 tile closer, but it still has to cross a river and a hill to get there. And who knows if the city will still be that deep red by the time they get there. And so we end on the same continent where we started, Australia, with a shot of Hangaroa about to be swallowed whole, New South Wales preparing to settle more, and Banuba letting it all happen, despite New South Wales still not having caught up in tech. No Kampbos, no swordsmen. Some quick catches on the minimap that were missed. Ores and Wasolo settled in the Western Sahara, Portugal settled Madrid, and Guaycuru got another on the coast. Also, it was shown, but I didn't say specifically, but the Kipchaks got 3 settles down at some point, and Vyatka too. I, Orange Chrissy, have been your host for today. I feel like there should be a few more narrative bits, though I can't figure out where to put them. But otherwise have rushed through this in mostly one go, because I decided I wanted to do a game jam with some friends starting tomorrow. I hope you all enjoyed, go support Pomo, and Koyot can't silence me.